Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. Brought to you by Fit to Curl, a sport-specific guide to training for the world's greatest game, by 2010 Olympic gold medalist and Team Martin third, John Morris, with a bit of help from me, Dean Gemmell. It's not too late to put in some good summer training for your favorite sport. Check out the Fit to Curl fan page on Facebook, and buy the book at fittocurl.com or your favorite pro shop. The 2006 Olympic gold medalist and the 2011 Tim Hortons Brier bronze medalist, Brad Gushue, welcome to the Curling Show.
Thanks for having me.
Excited about that bronze medal, I bet, right?
You know what? It felt better getting it than not getting it. So it was a fun game to play.
Yeah, you know, it was. It turned out to be quite an enjoyable game to watch and entertaining. For I was like most people wondering why we were having it, but the relaxed nature of it made it actually interesting, and you guys did seem to want to win it. I have heard, though, you have mentioned in the past you lost track of your gold medal. Have you lost track of the bronze medal yet?
No, actually. I found both and have both fairly close to me right now, so I know where they are. There
you go. Hey, let's start with a look ahead. Your new lineup, Ryan Fry moving up to third, transplanted Albertan Jeff Walker at second, PEI expat Adam Casey at lead. We know 5 or 6 years is a lifetime in curling, but when you won gold in Torino in 2006, did you ever think you wouldn't be playing with any of those guys at the start of 2011?
No, you don't think that way. You think you're going to play with people for forever, and me and Mark had played together for 13 years, and in the curling world, that is forever. And to have a different team this time around, pretty well a completely new team. It's going to be different, and Ryan's been with me now for 3 years, and we're just excited to get going this year and see what we can do.
What do you like about this new young front end? First Jeff Walker, then Adam Casey.
I like the excitement. Those guys are ready to go. They're excited. They bring a passion to the game, which when you play the game for long enough and you travel as much as we do, sometimes you lose a little bit of that, and I think they're going to bring that excitement back to us. Jeff is a very, very calm, cool guy, and got a good level head on his shoulders. And Adam is just he's excitable, a little quirky, very confident in his abilities, and I think the mix of kind of the calm in Jeff and the excitable in Adam, I think is going to be a good combination for us.
Now, are both those guys, judging from your very active Facebook team page, are both those guys, I think, are in Newfoundland now, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, Adam's up in Halifax right now. He's taking part in the Whitecap Curling Academy, but both of them moved down here in June and have been living here, ever since, and are going to be here throughout the curling season, and they're now transplanted Newfoundlanders, I guess.
Now, you don't have to convince me, of course, of the value of fitness in curling, but you demand it of yourself, I think, and your teammates. It looks to me like maybe this group is training even harder than your teams have in the past.
Yeah, for sure. The fitness level on this team is far and above what we've had in the past, and we've had some pretty fit teams. Adam is just he's a freak, to be quite honest. The stuff that he can do from a fitness standpoint is incredible, and Jeff's in great shape, and we all know and seeing Ryan, he's got some pretty big biceps on him. So the guys are ready to go, and we know that fitness isn't going to win curling games, but it's definitely not going to lose it for us. And at the end of a week, if we're a little bit more fit and a little bit more stronger, I guess, than our opponents, there's a chance that we may have a leg up on them.
Well, that's just it, right? Fitness doesn't matter shot by shot, but it can matter over the duration of an event or a game. So.
And even over the course of a year.
Exactly.
With the amount that we travel and play in the fall, we've tended to be in probably our worst shape come the biggest events, and we don't want to do that this year. We want to make sure, come February and March when we play in our provincials and hopefully the Brier, that we're going to be in the best shape of the year.
Your schedule this year looks to be focused on Eastern Canada, Quebec and Ontario, outside of a trip to Switzerland. Is that for travel reasons, or do you also like your chances at CTRS points at events in Ontario and Quebec?
Primarily for travel reasons. We found that when we went out west, it takes us a day or two just to get over, the day of travel, and it takes us to get there, and we found ourselves either losing our first game or losing our second game so often, and then you got to fight your way through B or C against some really tough teams. And when we played in the East, you get there and you're ready to go. You're fresh, and I think from a preparation standpoint for the end of the year, it actually benefits us to stay East because we're going to be ready each and every game to play. But we went to New West last year, and I could just remember playing our second game, which was a night game, which was actually 1:30 in Newfoundland time, and I just wanted to go to bed. I didn't want to go out and throw rocks at all. So I don't think that's really is going to benefit our team in the long run.
You have often talked about the difficulty of travel and competing from Newfoundland, from your location there. While there's guys out west who would probably hand you a tiny violin because they can't get to a briar, but there are some real challenges for you out being in Newfoundland. When was the last time you considered leaving your home province?
Probably in the early 2000s when, it was a really real struggle for us to find sponsorship, and we were paying out of our pocket to go play, and it was a struggle to find four guys that were willing and able to commit to the time that we wanted to. But in the last number of years, I've settled down, and I'm married, have business. All my family's here, and we have the ability now to get, to recruit players down to Newfoundland. So I haven't thought about it in a long time. And going back to your comment about the people out west, thinking that we have an easy road to the Briar, and granted we do have a much easier road than they do, but the benefit that they have is competition, and when they do get to a Briar, which for every 4 or 5 we get to, they might get to one, but they're going to be much more prepared than we are because they're going to be battle tested. And for us, we got to fly week in, week out to find that competition and spend thousands of dollars. So, it's not as rosy as some people make out, but granted, to get a chance to go to the Briar as much as we do, it is nice.
Yeah. I think there's two sides of that story, to be honest. I think I can see both points. Although most of the guys out west say they wouldn't trade the competition for anything. I think that's, but I imagine when you're the 5th best team in Alberta, it gets a little frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm the other way. I wouldn't trade the chance to go to a few more Briars.
Right.
And have to travel. So, I'm not complaining, and hopefully too many of them aren't complaining either.
You have this new lineup, and of course, whenever anyone leaves your team, you seem to be the guy who gets blamed for why they left, or people assume all sorts of things about you and that you called the shots. Do you ever feel like that's unfair?
Yeah, for sure. And granted, in some of those situations, it was me. It was my call, and I was the one that was pushing for it. But in other situations, I was the one that just took the blame for it. But I think that's part of being the skip and being the leader of the team. Sometimes you gotta take the fall when things aren't going good, and when things go good, you get a bit more of the glory. So, I got a pretty thick skin, and I've been dealing with it for ever since I was 15, 16 years old. So it's not, it doesn't faze me nearly as much as what it used to.
Last season, I think I have to touch on this. Last season was the Randy Ferbey experiment. And, that went about as well as most of us, including me, predicted it would. Then it ended with some nasty back and forth in the media. And I think, probably nobody really revealed their best selves in the whole thing, Randy or Ryan in the end with his note or whatever. Do you wish you'd either never tried the whole thing, or if not, do you just wish it had ended differently?
You know what? I don't regret doing it. I think it was good for us. I think Ryan got an opportunity to play a position and develop his draw game, playing lead. Got a break from skipping and just got a different perspective on the game. We didn't win as much as what we thought we should, and it didn't end in the way that I think we all wanted it to. I don't have any regrets about it. So. It is what it is. It didn't turn out as well, and what was played up in the media was, I think a lot of it was just frustration at the timing and the situation, and I tried to stay out of it, which I actually did, but again, I got blamed for a lot of it.
I guess you sort of sent a private email that wasn't really ever revealed, but which I guess would be the best way to handle it.
I tried to keep it private, but sometimes it gets out, and when you have a couple of high-profile players in Randy and Ryan and myself that are exchanging words, sometimes it gets out, and then it gets played up more and more, and people get a little bit emotional about it. And I think in the end, I think all of us would have changed the way it went down at the end. But it is what it is, and I've exchanged some texts with Randy, and I have no hard feelings. Next time I see him, hopefully we can sit down and have a beer. But there's no hard feelings from my side.
Well, it's interesting because my team actually played you last year, and you dispatched us pretty easily. But I could sense that there was just a strange chemistry, a strange dynamic to the whole thing when we played you, even though we weren't going to beat you on that day.
It was, it started out good, and I think a lot of it was my fault, because as I got into the season, I wanted to be skipping. And I realized how much I missed it, and I think that's why last year was a benefit for me, and why I don't regret it, because it made me realize that, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to play, and, you won't see me play throwing or sweeping again, I guess. So it was good for me, and I think, I'll take a lot of the blame for that. And but Randy and I actually got along really, really well. Off the ice and even on the ice. It just, from a curling chemistry perspective, it just didn't click.
You were a harsh critic of last year's Canada Cup format and how teams qualified for the playoffs. Now it's changed quite dramatically, quite down to 7 teams, but you're not in it. Is it better now?
For sure. The format before was just, it just wasn't right, to be quite honest. Anybody that was in the situation we were, or a couple years ago, where a team actually had a better record than the team that qualified, it just didn't seem fair. And to have that crossover game, where teams in your pool potentially had an easier path than what you did, it just didn't seem right. And for the sake of either taking away a couple teams or adding a couple teams, I'm glad they made the change. And I think the format is almost ideal. Like, you can't really find any faults in it, other than they keep playing it out in BC. It's Alberta.
Yeah, with not be and they've never played it where they've really drawn that well. That's what I don't quite understand.
Yeah, and unfortunately they keep using that as an excuse that these places wanted it. But with the exception of a couple of Canada Cups, it really hasn't drawn extremely well, and it's also never gone east of York, and that was a big part of my beef last year with it. Is we don't get any funding to go out there. We keep having to doing it over and over, and like the Canada Cup last year cost us, I think, $8,000, and just once out every 4 or 5 years, it'd be nice to see it come to Toronto or Atlantic Canada. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that. I think now this format, though, and with what's at stake in it, it might actually start to feel like a real event instead of the CCA running a cash spiel, which was what I always thought it felt like. So
for sure, and I think with the format change, I think it's a huge positive. It's a good step forward, and I think the fans will probably engage the event a whole lot more, knowing that it's got a pretty legitimate format.
Without your sort of rotating roster last year with Randy and then Jamie coming in for the Newfoundland Playdowns, this year you've got all 4 guys, I guess, in St. John's. Do you like having everybody there so you can practice together more often?
It's...
And what's a practice like for you guys?
What's that?
What's a practice like for you guys? A lot of people listening to the show ask me how the top teams practice.
Well, we really haven't had an opportunity yet to practice as a team, but we have an idea of what we're going to be doing, and we're just going to go out and focus on certain type of shots, and for us early in the year, it's going to be just working on communication and just systems. Who's going to sweep where, when, why, how. Figuring all that stuff out is going to be the big part, and part of what we're going to be doing this week in Halifax. But then we just try and work on communication when we're working as a team, and practicing a lot of field shots. We don't go out there and throw peels up and down the sheet, because peels don't win you games as much as the soft shots do.
There you go. That's sort of interesting. Do you guys have a coach next year?
We do, actually. We're bringing Baz Kavanaugh back, who was our sports psychologist when we won the Olympics, and Baz and I have remained close for a number of years, and he's going to be our coach. So as far as an on-ice guy, we don't really have one. We have Jeff Thomas, who's going to be working with us a little bit, but Baz is going to be with us for several events on the tour, and hopefully provincials in the Brier.
All right, before we get to the run back, a big picture question. What would you do to make the highest level of the sport more popular, fans, and more lucrative for players? If you could change anything in the game right now.
Wow, that's a great question. I think the marketing. I think we have to market the younger players a little bit more, and the future of the game. And I think try and make the game a little bit more sexy. I think if you look at, say, women's tennis, I'd rather watch women's tennis more than men's tennis because of the way they market it. And I think we have that opportunity in curling to market it and make it a sexy sport, as opposed to that old stigma of being that old person's sport. And if we could find a way to market it where the 20-somethings out there that aren't curling actually want to turn on the TV to see something, I think that might bring it to another level.
And to be fair, I think the game has gotten a little sexier, actually. But
it has. Well, there's no doubt it has from where it was 10 or 20 years ago. But I think we could still go a little bit further.
Right.
And I think a lot of it just has to do with how we market the game. I don't think we necessarily need to put everybody out there in skin-tight clothes. But
it hasn't hurt at times.
And it depends on who's in the skin-tight clothes.
Exactly.
Too, so,
depends if Randy's wearing them or not.
Yeah, or even I don't think a lot of people want to see me in it either. But there's certain people that you would want to see it on. But how we do that, I don't know, and I don't claim to be a marketing brain. So hopefully there's someone out there a lot smarter than me that can figure it out.
Actually, if you want to see how quickly women's fashions in curling have improved, look at Jennifer Jones in 2005 when she won with the in-off against Jane Hanna. Look at what they're wearing compared to what the women wear now. It's a quantum leap forward. But
I had a good conversation with Jennifer in Toronto in June about that. We were at a charity event and they showed the picture of her making that shot, and the first thing I could think of were the pants, and she laughed pretty hard at it too.
Good. They were awful, and it's not like 2005. It's not like it's 1988 or something. It's 2005, and
it wasn't up to Jennifer though.
Oh, I know. That's the thing. It wasn't up to her. They, the fact that they used to, give women these pants from right off of the grandma and onto the women was unbelievable. But anyways, so at least that's better. But we're getting there. I think the broadcasts have gotten better too. So I'm somewhat positive. But it's I think the challenge with curling is people have to understand it. They have to understand when a moment's exciting, right? And until people do that,
we're definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And it's going to take time. And hopefully we continue going in the right direction. And maybe 10 years from now we'll be looking back and wondering, or thinking that it was always this cool or this sexy to play curling.
All right, Brad, we finished with a run back. I give you a topic. You give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
Okay.
Tiger Woods' chances this weekend.
Very good.
He's thinking Tiger might pull it off. The chances of you experiencing a Tiger-like meltdown. Too personal, I guess.
What's that? Oh, that meltdown.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you meant like my knee falling off.
No. Just the whole disaster of his life for the last few years.
0.
All right. The EQ heads from Balance Plus.
Don't know about it.
You don't know about the EQ, the equalizer heads from Balance Plus?
Oh, the equalizer heads.
Yeah.
It's a broom head.
All right, you're just going to go with that. The value of getting on the curling ice in the summer months for training.
Huge.
You think so, eh? Getting out on the ice a bit in the summer helps?
I think so. I think you get on the ice in the summer, it helps you in the first couple of events as opposed to just trying to get your legs under you. You could start the first couple of events and actually, work on some stuff and develop as a team.
It's interesting. I mean, I've talked to some other guys who say they just hang them up and they don't want to get near the ice until September, but...
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to be on the ice, June, July, and August, but I'd love to get on the ice for a couple weeks in August, and then, when the Shorty Jenkins comes around, which is our first event, then, we're not going out there trying to figure out how to slide it in.
Right. Yeah, it is funny how, even the very best players, I think when you first go back out, it does feel weird, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a challenge, especially when you get older. When I hit 30, all of a sudden things start to hurt a whole lot more.
Yeah, talk to me about old, Brad. Keep doing that. Thanks. How about that bit you did with the Goofy Wooden Board curling game back in New York on Fox News a few years ago?
Oh, silly.
That was, I just happened to flip that on that morning. I was like, what are they doing?
When I seen that, I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I got a free trip to New York.
Right.
Yeah.
The best was, I think, it was Fox News morning show, right? And they are just vacant anyways. And I think they actually thought you were playing the sport you played in the Olympics. That's what I thought.
Well, when we went there, they said it was at Rockefeller Center, and I was so used to seeing the Today Show where they have 5-6 people deep around the barricades, and we went outside and around the barricades. I think there was like 8 people there.
Yeah, well, you weren't on the Today Show, so you're out of luck.
So it was a little bit different.
How about your Facebook fan page and its relentless announcements?
It's good. We're trying to promote our relationship with HP, which is great. We're trying to promote our team and get a little bit more excitement going on, and we're going to be doing that throughout the year, and we have all the equipment to keep people up close and personal with what our team is doing.
Now, it's good. It's good use of social media. You guys are all over it right there right now. So how about the strength of the Canadian dollar?
It's great. When you go to Florida, you get things for cheap.
What's not so great is when you're paying entry fees in Canada and you live in the U.S. That's no good.
That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, I'm actually hedging. I'm telling people.
I just think of shopping when I go to Florida. It's good.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I guess whatever. I moved here when the Canadian dollar was weak, and now I'm struggling with it being strong. Anyways,
we're getting you back.
Yeah, you are, I guess. How about Newfie Screech?
Don't drink it.
Cod tongues.
Love them.
Love them. All right, there we go. See, you are
they're delicious.
And how about
get the small ones, and you're good.
The small ones, yeah. You wouldn't want to eat a large cod tongue, I guess.
Yeah, they're a little bit jelly with a large one.
All right. The pool system for the Briar relegation system.
Don't like it.
And finally, the CCA changed to the WCF timeout rule.
Don't know much about it.
Well, they're going to go back to more what was there before instead of
it doesn't matter. 70 minutes is enough time to play the game, and if you have timeouts or not, it's I think that's one thing that's actually keeping the game from getting to that next level. Is it takes too long sometimes to make decisions and keep things moving. Yeah,
they should just go to that thinking time setup though.
For sure. I think that's a great move, and we enjoy it a whole lot more. Because it doesn't penalize the team when they get down 2 or 3 points for playing all draws and the other team's playing all peels.
I just can't understand the resistance to it. I don't understand why that doesn't just happen. All right, Brad. Well, I appreciate your time. As always, I know you're in the midst of a busy time in your life out there, so I appreciate it. And before we go, I let everybody name their team sponsors.
Our team sponsor, we just signed on with HP. They're going to be our title sponsor for this year, which we're very, very excited about, and they've been good to us. Gold Line Curling Equipment. We have Exit Realty on the Rock, Dre Media, and Rona, which is actually, they've been a sponsor of teams that I've played on now for 14 years, so excited to have them back.
Well, good for you and good for them, and I look forward to seeing this new lineup on the ice this year.
Super. Thanks, Dean.
Take care. That's Brad Gushue on The Curling Show. If you want to learn more about upcoming interviews and read my occasional takes on curling, sports, and life, follow Dean Gemmel, Cap D, Cap G, and no spaces on Twitter. And if looking at Twitter feeds has replaced exercise for you this summer, then you definitely need to pick up Fit to Curl by John Morris, available at fittocurl.com and at Better Pro Shops. As always, thanks for listening. Enjoy some August pudding.